Jesus. I mean, trust me, man.
I'm back. It's your man H-Rap coming at you live and direct as usual. This is Hold My Bill Sports, where I talk sports, not stats. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like, hit that share. Tell a friend to tune in. Thank you. Now, tonight's going to be an interesting night. I'm going to have a little fun. But I'll probably take a few people off is what I do. I'm good at that. I know it, people. Burn people up with my opinions. What I want you to do. I want you to do is tune in, tap in, tell a friend. I'm going to talk a little basketball, international basketball and NBA basketball. I'm going to talk a little football. I'm going to talk a little NCAA. And I'm going to talk a little international hate. International hate. What is international hate? You got a lot of people who will hate on people because they're doing things. I don't like it, so I'm going to address it. Let's start at the top of the rock. What I'm going to talk about is this. I'm going to talk about international basketball. This is 2024. The 4 means this is an even year. The even year means it is a world championship year or it is an Olympic year. The Olympics are going down this summer. The international IOC, the USA basketball is in full swing. They've invited a few people. They brought some people who everybody's saying, "Hey man, they are not the deal. They are not the joint. This is not what we want." And you got people like Steph Curry, LeBron James, and they must restore the pride of American basketball because American basketball is at the top of the rock. They are the thing that makes the whole this is our game. We lost in 1972, we lost in 88, and we lost in the 90s, and we brought in the Dream Team and then the Redeem Team and all that. Look, first and foremost, the NBA is no longer the NBA. Let's start right there. The NBA is no longer the NBA. All sports fans, and especially NBA fans, and I'm going to talk about something about the NBA in a second, what all sports fans do now is talk about analytics and stats and triple doubles, and nobody talks about the actual game. So if you're not going to talk about the actual game, what difference does it make who's good and who's not? How many guys in the National Basketball Association, in your opinion, be honest, in your opinion, how many people in the National Basketball Association are actually playing to be the best? When we talk about money, I am the money guy. I'm the guy who says, I'm not playing for a championship. I'm not playing to be the man. I'm playing to get paid. But at the end of the day, you cannot judge someone by how many championships they got in a team sport. If this was boxing, if this was tennis, if this was golf, then you judge people by in accordance to that, in accordance to how many games that they won and how many matches they won and things of that nature. You are responsible solely for the trophies. But when you are talking a team game, all you could do is this: play to get a yellow jacket or a gold, or whatever color jacket your sport hands out. You trying to get immortalized in the Hall of Fame or whatever your sport is, if it's a team game. How can you hold Dominique Wilkins responsible for the Atlanta Hawks not winning championships when he going up against teams with 3 and 4 Hall of Famers and 2 and 3 all-time greats and things of that nature? You cannot hold me responsible for what my team didn't do. There's no such thing as Michael Jordan willed them. Did Michael Jordan run out of will when he was playing with the Wizards? They used to be the Bullets, my bad. Did he run out of will then? Did he run out of his ability to push people over the top? No, he just didn't have the prerequisites to be a champion. You need a sidekick, or at this point, you need a third guy, or all the time, you always need a couple guys around you who are heavy hitters, and then you need role players to fill in the blanks. If you don't have that, I don't care how much will you have. You mean to tell me Moses Malone, who won 3 league MVPs before he got, 2 league MVPs before he got to Philadelphia, and he put the Houston Rockets with Mike Dunleavy Sr. and Robert Reed and Mitchell Wiggins and those bums on his back? Well, excuse me, they're not bums, but and Calvin Murphy on his back, and took them to the finals against Larry Bird with Hall of Famer Robert Parrish, with Hall of Famer Nate Archibald, with Hall of Famer Kevin McHale, with Hall of Famer Pistol Pete Maravich. With that, and he was supposed to beat them. No, You cannot gauge people in accordance to how many championships they won because that's not fair to the individual, or is it reasonable? So stop telling people, oh man, he didn't win championship. Well, Michael Jordan won 6. But guess what? Michael Jordan was the guy out there with two other Hall of Famers, and if you count Tony Kukoc, that's 3 other Hall of Famers, other multiple All Stars, and Horace Grant, multiple time All Star, B.J. Armstrong, All Star starter, and other people on the team that solidified his championship runs. Was Michael Jordan a great leader? Indeed, he was. Is he arguably the greatest player we've ever seen? That's a conversation to be had. That's a situation to whereas salt and pepper, sugar, sugar, salt, whatever you prefer, that's what it is. But we need to stop saying championships make the man. His ability to impact the basketball game and basketball series, that's what puts you in a particular situation. Allen Iverson never won a championship. Does that make him less great? No. But the point is, and then back to the Olympic point, when you're talking about Olympics, I don't think you need the cream of the crop. Everybody's talking about the Euros and taking over basketball. No, what they did was wide open, make the game wide open, make it more free flowing game because they're trying to make international money, not just local money. And when I say local, I mean the 50 states. I don't want to hear any of this foolishness about they're catching up with us. Look at how many Euros in the game right now. I have a theory on this. Everybody know me, I'm a low level conspiracy theorist, but I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. I believe this is the honest to God truth. And the National Basketball Association is slowly creeping into the realm of sport, whereas the Major League Baseball is already there. You have a bunch of brown men in Major League Baseball. You got Big Poppy, Manny Ramirez, a bunch of dudes last name Cruz, bunch of dudes last name Martinez, and they look just like me. Their skin complexion is just like mine. So you can't say, hey man, ain't no brothers in baseball. But they are not from the United States of America. If you look at them, they look just like me. If you speak to them, they have a different dialect. And they don't, a lot of them, English is their second language. Where if they're from the Dominican, if they're from Puerto Rico, if they're from Mexico, if they're from other regions of the world, they are not from the United States of America. I do believe the National Basketball Association is slowly creeping towards that as well. You open up an NBA in Africa, 53 countries over there. You mean that you don't think they're going to start bringing those players over here? You would have to be crazy. They already bring kids out of Europe. They already bring kids out of Asia. You got Ben Simmons from Australia. Slowly but surely, the United States of America, black man, you will no longer be in the NBA. Some of your best players in the league, Jamal Murray, he's not from America. He looks just like me. He actually sounds like me. We speak the same language. And guess what? He is not from America. Guess another, Mitchell Wiggins, #1 pick in the draft a few years ago, killed it for that last Golden State Warriors championship. He is not from the United States of America. Looks just like a black man. His daddy is a black American. And guess what? He's not an American. A couple guys that the Knicks drafted, not Americans. These guys are slowly but surely filtering you out because we continue to allow ourselves to be brainwashed by entities like Fox Sports, ESPN, and things of that nature. And it might not even be a brainwashing. But what I do want you to understand is this. Brothers are getting slowly filtered out the league. You know why? Because we're no longer playing basketball. We are playing a 3-point contest. Oh, I can shoot from 40 feet away. Hey, last time I checked, the advantage in basketball is I'm taller than everybody. Just like in baseball, if you can throw a 90-something mile per hour fastball, or if you can hit a curveball, that's your advantage. You are part of the in crowd. Hey, he can hit a curveball. He's fast. He can hit a curveball. Get him on the field. That's the advantage. Football, if you are a massive individual, more than likely you can play. We're gonna figure out a way to get you on. If you're an extremely fast guy who can actually catch or back up real fast, we're gonna get you on the football field. If you're tall, we're gonna get you on the basketball court. So, with that being said, it's easy to get all these guys from all over the world, and then you got people in Europe who are watching the NBA. You got people in Asia. You see how much money the NBA made when Yao Ming came over here? Do you understand that there's people in Australia, was I think is one of the guys who played for the Spurs. I want to call him Speedy Claxton, but that's not his name. Big Illinois in the chat room. Give me that point guard. He used to play for your team. His team is San Antonio Spurs. He was from Australia as well. It's been Andrew Gase. I could name a myriad of players. Dele Shrimp, Dirk Nowitzki, multiple guys from Africa, whether it be Joel Embiid, he's from Africa. He's of African descent, and he is from Africa. Hakeem Olajuwon, Manu Bol, Dikembe Mutombo, Luau Dang, and I can go on and on. If you believe that they're going to continue to fish out this 50-state pond and not have people on the continent, not have people on the continent of Asia, not have people in Europe, you are outside of your mind. They have dumbed the game down, and they've dumbed the players down. You're playing AAU. You're not getting paid for AAU. Why are you playing it? And another reason, why are you playing AAU, playing 8, 10, 12 games a day? It dumbs you down it dumbs down the competitive edge. Just like most coaches will tell you in the locker room, a hungry dog runs faster. If you are out here playing and losing means nothing to you and you're not getting paid to get better, you stay at one level. Oh, I'm extremely athletic. So there are a bunch of black men all over this world who are going to be coming in extremely athletic. But the difference is, it's amazing. Most of the black players, black American players, the NBA is telling you, hey, what you need to do is be more like Steph Curry. Meanwhile, Jamal Murray doesn't play like Stephen Curry, but he's a champion. The big Joker, he doesn't play like Steph Curry, but he's a champion. Embiid won the last MVP. He has a mid-range game. He doesn't play like Curry. And when the playoffs start, guess what? Big Joker, he can hit the three, but he's in the paint getting fouled, setting up other people. All these guys are playing more. All these Euro players, Luka Doncic is playing like LeBron. The big guy Porzingis, he's playing like LeBron, but they telling all y'all to play like Curry. No, because at that point you minimalize your athleticism, you dumb down your basketball intellect, and then it opens the door for guys like Murray, like Shea Gilgeous-Gilchrist, like the other Euro players that out of the country players to come in and take your position. Is it a racial thing? No. It's just it's trying to get more eyes around the world. Now, if they were expanding teams, if they were going to bring in a team in Seattle, if they was going to bring another team all throughout the world, throughout the country, and get people to come, then my potential conspiracy could be deadened. But they're not expanding the league. They're reducing the league. There's only 480 of these jobs. So how is it that there are 480 of these jobs, and you think just because you can shoot from half court, you're going to be user friendly? That's not smart, people. And then they give you this nonsense about, oh man, the Euro players are better. No, they're not. Name the great Euro players. You don't know a lot of them. You don't know. Luka Doncic is the man, but Luka Doncic is only one of 480. Who's the other dominant Euro? Oh, Joker. He's the man. Rudy Gobert, nope, he's not dominant. None of these guys are dominant. The Greek Freak, he's from Africa. Like I said, this is a global game. They are not catching up, but what they're doing is slowing you down. The development of Black American players is being stymied. They're not getting paid. They're being taught to chase money. And when you teach people to chase money, again, it's nothing wrong with chasing money, because I wanted to be rich. I played to get paid. If I would have made it to the league, I would have been playing to get paid, but I didn't. So what I want you to understand is this. Coaches, I'm going to have a couple of coaches. I got my man, Coach Carter, Coach Williams. I'm talking to my Coach Jones and a couple of other people who I know as coaches. What we're going to do is I'm going to have a conversation, and we're going to talk about why the young Black American player is no longer dominant. There's no more structure. There's no more will to win, and that means the door will be open for other people around the world to infiltrate. Again, back to the Olympics. The Olympics is a great situation, and the Euro players are not keeping up. But this is what you need to understand. When the Euro players, when you have an older, aging out Paul Gasol, when you have a Joker who doesn't want to play for his national team, and you have a Tony Parker that aged out, and we could name all the Euros over the year, Dirk Nowitzki didn't play, they still have solid teams. Team is the operative word. Team is the operative word. Anybody who knows me knew I was a very good baseball player, and I was a very good football player for my peer group. I'm not saying I was pro level. I'm not saying I was Division I level. I'm not saying that they was chasing old age rap down. But football was my thing. Baseball was my thing. I was a solid basketball player because I was a good athlete. But what I want you to understand is this. It's time for the NBA, and excuse me, for USA basketball to create a team. To create a team. USA basketball, hope you guys listening. Is it Jerry Colangelo and the Grant Hills of the world? I need y'all to be tuning in right now. If y'all not tuning in, I need them to send this to somebody then get at me because I'm gonna need some creative situations so I can get paid off my great ideas. Now, this is what I want y'all to do. Jerry Colangelo, Grant Hill, and the rest of USA basketball, they are not drafting seniors anymore. There are a bunch of seniors who play traditional basketball throughout the United States of America. What I'm gonna need y'all to do, I'm gonna need y'all to get 24 college level, high school level to senior and college level basketball players. There are top 100 guys that go to college, never clean, and they play the 4 years and they never come back, and we never hear from them because it's only 480 jobs, and y'all continue to draft people from overseas, and y'all drafted 19-year-olds. So if you stay in college too long, the word is you were not good enough. NIL allows you to go to college, become a millionaire, get your education, and then go to Euro. A couple of weeks from now, I'm gonna have former world basketball player Ali Beatty, aka my cousin, league MVP, world champion, college champion. He's going to be on the show. We're going to talk about this. What guys like him? He was known in the Dominican Republic as the Machine. We're going to have him on here. Now, you get some of these guys who spent 3 and 4 years in college. Some of them 7 feet tall with mad skills. They're just not good enough for the NBA. Some of them are 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", power forwards. They play traditional basketball. What I propose to USA basketball is this. USA basketball gets some of these high school, college all-stars. Create an actual USA basketball network. And then what you do is they created a fan base. They're at the Dukes. They're at the Carolinas. They're at the UCLAs. They're at the Kentuckys. They're at the Texas. They're at the Illinois. They're at the Wisconsin. They throughout the Big Ten, Pac-10, Big East, SEC, and ACC. And the mid-majors and small colleges. They're all over the league. You get some of those guys, and you get them to playing together. If you leave and go pro, if you prospect out, we're going to replace you with another guy. If you prospect out of the USA basketball because you go pro, okay, you've prospected out, you going pro. But what we're going to do is create a pipeline for USA basketball. That may not work, right? Okay, I know it's some doubt there. Here's the way it works. Because you have a fan base, the Dukes, the Carolinas, so forth, the Blue Bloods of the league. They're going to bring their fans with them because Grant Hill left college as one of the most polished and popular college basketball players in the history of NCAA. He also came to the league and was one of the top vote getters in the NBA All-Star game. That means he brought a fan base with him. We knew Grant Hill. We had fallen in love with Grant Hill. Guess what, TV people? This allows you to get some mid-majors on TV because then you're going to be trying to promote those guys. Y'all can make money, then y'all can pay some of that H-Rap. But back to the story. You get these guys, and you put them on the team, and they play together 3, 4, 5 years. Those who have been following me since I started this, y'all heard me say this years ago. My man D-Grade is in the chat room. I know he can confirm this. Once I say this, he going to confirm it. I'm going to highlight it on the screen. I told people a few years ago, it's going to be mid-majors and schools you never heard of that's going to be in the NCAA tournament winning it because they're going to have third, fourth, and fifth year players that are committed to a system and they know each other, and they are going to be almost impossible to beat. Team beats talent anytime. Remember, John Calipari was running all those guys through Kentucky. He had the Boogie Cousins, the John Walls, the Derrick Roses, Anthony Davis, all those guys, and only one of those teams won a championship because more than likely team beats talent 99 times out of 100. One time he won, he had about a 10-year run and only won one championship. He played in several championship games, but they didn't win. Again, back to the USA basketball point. You got these guys playing USA basketball. They're a team. They've been frozen out of the league because they're 6'10", 7-foot guys who play with their back to the basket, drop step, laying it up. They're unstoppable. They're getting fouls. They're hitting free throws in a traditional sense. If you get those guys to play together and send them overseas, it'll be a more competitive game, which draws eyes. It'll be a more interesting game because we know these guys, and then we Americans will have a team to root for. That's 3 ways to attract eyes, attract people, and attract talent. You pay these guys a couple $1 million to play. NIL goes through the roof because you played on the Olympics and you won. Guess what? Now it's America, America, America. You got the Patriots, you got the people at the school, you got the families, and you got the people from the city watching because now they care. I know that you can get Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James, and they'll blow the doors off any team. But who wants to see a league of blowouts? Hey, I'm from Chicago. Do I want to see the Bulls win by 100, or do we want to see Michael Jordan hitting that shot in Utah? Or do we want to see Magic Johnson doing that run and jump hook? Or do we want to see Bird hitting it from the corner? Or do we want to see Steph Curry finally winning Finals MVP in Game 7? Or do we want to see Kobe go 0 for 14, have his worst shooting night of his career, get 19 rebounds, 8 assists, and about 6 steals, and win a championship and make the pass to Ron Artest? Those are the games we remember. So USA basketball, create a team, not of NBA All-Stars. And guess what? It'll be an endless pool of talent. It is an endless pool of talent because guess what? If I go to DePaul, who is in the trash right now, and I go to USA tryouts and I make the team, guess what? The spotlight is on my school. I'm bringing more people to my school, and part of my recruiting pitch is, no, I wasn't top 100, but I'm at DePaul getting 22, 28 points a night, and I want an Olympic gold medal, and I'm going to attract more people to DePaul. The school, Cal Berkeley, UC Santa Barbara, Pepperdine. If you in Texas A&M, it's not a basketball bastion. Anywhere in Mississippi, anywhere in Bama, UGA, anywhere in Georgia, HBCU people. These people will be attracting eyes. They come with people. USA basketball, enough with the NBA players. And guess what? That would also debunk this lie that the world is catching up with America. And it will also create a path for young brothers like me and my son and my grandson and my great-grandson and his great-grandson to continue to get that paper with the NBA. Because I'm telling you, it is getting boring. I don't want to see the very best in the world play against 1 or 2 good players, an NBA level player in Spain, and the rest of those dudes are Manny Moe and Jack. I don't want to see that. That's not fun. I am a sports fan. I don't care about no analytics and stats, and he has a wins over replacement and all that nonsense. I want to see who got game, who got hard, who gonna show up when it counts. If you doubt what I'm saying, if you've been watching sports for any amount of time, you remember names like Calvert Chaney. You remember names like Ramil Robinson. You remember names like Keith Smart. You remember guys like Sherman Douglas. You remember guys like LaFonso Ellis. These guys dominated for years and on the college level. When they got to, well, LaFonso Ellis killed when he got to the pros, but he couldn't stay healthy. But when these guys got to the NBA level, meaning the upper echelon of basketball, they didn't dominate like they did in college. You're like, man, what happened to that guy? Guys like Scotty Thurman, guys like Corliss Williamson, the Big Nasty. There was a bunch of guys that washed out who were very good college players. There was a bunch of those dudes. Believe it or not, Dickie Simpkins led the National Association of College Athletics, NCAA, and rebounded. That means he was dominant on a lower level. The same level of talent you'll be playing with against Europe, same level you'll be playing against Asia, same level you'll be playing against Africa, and any place else on the world. You need an islands like Australia and things like that. If you doubt what I'm saying, all you have to do is look at this. You got guys who leave here who were sitting on the bench in America, and they go to Europe and win league MVP. My cousin, who's going to be on the show, as I just mentioned to y'all, he's going to be on the show in a few weeks. He goes to the Dominican Republic, make a great life for himself, and he wins league MVP, and he has NBA trials. But now we don't want to use you because he's not going to attract eyes. People, who wouldn't want to go get a H-Rap jersey if H-Rap just killed in the Olympics? And Carmelo Anthony claimed to fame is he's one of the greatest Olympic basketball players ever. I understand that's Carmelo, and it may even be a poor example of what I'm talking about. But if you create a team atmosphere, people will come. People will come, and you know it, and I know it. That's the reason you watch the Olympics, for the competition. And then and only then will you be able to say, well, the rest of the world is catching up. But I guarantee you, if you put a team together, I played on basketball teams. Well, I was the 7th and 8th man getting off the bench. Didn't get a whole lot of time, but the coach knew I could dribble. The coach knew I could defend. The coach knew I could rebound. The coach knew I would hit clutch free throws, and he knew I would make the pass in the right situation. That's how you win in basketball, not because you got the best shooter ever. Why would you tell everybody try to be like Steph Curry? He's the greatest shooter in the history of the world. More than likely, you're not going to be, after all these years, you're not going to be the greatest shooter in history of the world. But if you start patterning your game behind all around ball players, everybody can dribble. Everybody can pass. Everybody can learn the game and make timely plays. And everybody can assert, most people, if you have that it factor, you can assert yourself at the right moment and be the big time ball player. Everybody can't be the man, but everybody can be on the team. With that being said, I want to talk about NCAA football. Y'all, a lot of people who love NCAA football, we love Alabama, we love USC, we love Clemson, we love Florida, we love the SEC, we love the Big Ten. Speaking of the SEC and the Big Ten, they are on BS. The SEC and the Big Ten are on BS, and I'm going to have to tell the presidents of those two conferences, sit your ass down, sit your ass down. We all know this year will be the first year of the new 12-team playoff situation. The 12-team playoff situation is this. Instead of arguing about this Final Four, at the end of the season, they will pick 12 teams to battle it out until the end of the year, and that will determine who the champion. The SEC and the Big Ten are attempting to augment that game plan. They're trying to do next year a 14. And then the SEC, the champion of the SEC and the Big Ten, get a pass. This is greed at its best. This is the beginning of the destruction of NCAA football. Don't believe me? If it goes down, it's going to die. I'm just letting you know. But this is what I propose to CBS Sports. CBS Sports just lost the SEC contract to ESPN. They lost their contract to ESPN. CBS Sports, intellectual property I'm about to share with y'all. Y'all need to get at me. Get at me, CBS Sports. This is what y'all do. I shouldn't be sharing this, but I'm going to share it because I'm an idea fairy. I got multiple ideas. I'm a creative guy. I'll come up with something else. But this is what I want you to do. CBS Sports, this is what you do. You get a MAC. You get an ACC. Not an SEC. You get an ACC. You get a MAC. You get a Mid-America Conference. You get Conference USA. You get the Big Sky, the Big West Conference, and you get all these mid schools. And you get them TV contracts with CBS Sports. Y'all got an app so y'all can show 1 million games at the same time. And then on the national game, what you do is you pull up rivalry. You get rivalries every week. Guess what? When people from institutions of higher learning find out that their team is going to be on TV, those stadiums fill up. When those stadiums fill up, they bring eyes. Why do we used to watch Big Monday? Because the Big East was who's the Big East? Patrick Ewing. Who was that? Georgetown, Syracuse, Seton Hall, St. John's. Nobody was paying attention to those schools until ESPN had the gumption to put them on TV. And next thing you know, most sports fans, every Monday night, they were glued to the TV to watch Derek Coleman and Ronnie Cycli and Patrick Ewing and Reggie Wilson and Mark Jackson and Chris Mullin and Jason Williams and so forth and so on. Terry DeHare up at Seton Hall. These Charles Smith at Pittsburgh. We were glued there. Now, CBS Sports, I'm going to even give y'all the tagline. I'm going to even give you the tagline. CBS Sports, tune in Saturday so you can see who's going to play Sunday. But SEC players in Big Ten, those are the guys who go to the pros. Those are the guys who get picked in the first round. If you don't believe me, name top 3 receivers in NFL history. Gotta be Jerry Rice. Gotta be Randy Moss. Gotta be T.O. Let me see. T.O., Randy Moss, HBCUs. That's not the SEC. That's not the SEC. T.O. Neither one of those guys went to a big school. Randy Moss went to Marshall. T.O. went to Tennessee State. Jerry Rice went to a HBCU. Best running back ever. Walter Payton, right? Marshall Faulk is one of your best football players, best running backs, right? Best all-around backs. Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith, Marshall Faulk. Check that out. Marshall Faulk went to San Diego State. Jerry Rice went to thank you. Mississippi Valley State. Exactly. Jerry Rice. Marshall Faulk, San Diego State. How many of y'all have seen the San Diego State football game on TV? You don't see it. Walter Payton, Jackson State. You don't see Jackson State on TV. Then you got Jim Brown, Syracuse, Eddie George, Syracuse, Emmitt Smith. Shout out to Emmitt Smith. Big up to Emmitt Smith. Y'all, if y'all listened to the show last night, y'all see why I'm big up to Emmitt Smith. They go to the smaller schools. You put those smaller schools, CBS, y'all ain't got nobody to watch. You gonna hire people. You got people like Keisha come in and knew exactly where Jerry Rice went. You know what? You know why? Because we're from these places. Our family are from these places. And we want to see those guys excel too. Steve McNair didn't go to a big school. Randall Cunningham didn't go to a big school. The dudes that you like the most go to schools that you don't see on TV a whole lot. So why not put the teams that you don't see on TV a lot on TV, CBS? I need y'all to get at me and pay me for this because these are excellent ideas. I need y'all to get in on that. But that's how you do it, and you promote it. Watch Saturday so you can see who's going to play on Sunday. Your favorite players. James Harrison, small school. DeMarcus Ware, small school. A gang of teams. You only see Jackson State on TV when you're talking about the band. Exactly. Steve McNair went to Alcorn State. Exactly. These guys went to small schools. And they came to the league and lit it up. Steve McNair won league MVP. Walter Payton is arguably the greatest, obviously one of the greatest football players in the world. He's definitely one of the greatest running backs in the world in the history of the game. Even Barry Sanders, nobody's checking for Oklahoma State, but they're in the big conference, so they'll be on TV eventually. But this is what I'm talking about. The guys that we love the most come from schools that we don't care, that they tell us not to care about. But guess what? If you're from Mississippi, you know Jackson State. You know Mississippi Valley State University. You know people from Russ College. If you are from Alabama, you know from Alabama State University. You know guys from there. As a matter of fact, the Alabama State University coach, Eddie Robinson, is not the Eddie Robinson that you're thinking of from Grambling. But guess what? He played for they're the Tennessee Titans now, but they used to be the Houston Oilers. He played in the National Football League. Guess what? Eddie Robinson. He put in Otis Wilson. He put in Charlie Joyner. He put in Otis Wilson, Charlie Joyner, the first black man to win a Super Bowl at quarterback, Doug Williams, HBCUs. People, some of your favorite players come from the smallest schools in the world. Aeneas Williams, one of the best cornerbacks ever. Eddie Brown went to Morris Brown. These schools are putting out excellent talent. They just want you to pay. They want you to pay attention to the Ohio States, the Alabamas, the Texas, the Illinois, the Michigans. But most of these guys coming. Look, why is it that in the last 25 years, Michigan, the University of Michigan, world champion or national champion, University of Michigan, and Alcorn State got the same amount of quarterbacks that have won MVPs? One each. USC has less big-time quarterbacks than Alcorn State. Alcorn State has 1. USC has 0. This is Carson Palmer. He was a stain. Matt Leinart, stain. Rodney Peete, solid ball player. But you know what I mean. CBS, pay me my money. But the Big Ten and SEC, y'all are greedy. Y'all are trying to hoard the money. And if the people at CBS had anything that resembled a brain, they would do exactly what I'm talking about. Otherwise, this is the beginning of the end. This is Babylon about to fall. This is Rome about to crumble. NCAA football is getting way out of control. I don't have no problem with NIL because I play football and my back hurt right now. My knees hurt every morning. It takes me 3 minutes to stand up every morning. And if you don't believe me, sir, it's not it's Alcorn State. Really? 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 Hush, shorty. This is all I'm saying. Thank you, Miss Hale. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But as I was stating, um, these institutions, it's not funny, fellas. Uh, these institutions are being, the SEC and the Big Ten are being a bit greedy. And at that point, this is when the small people should move in. CBS, you're losing control. Look, bring eyes to institutions that don't have eyes. You will be at the ground floor promoting those institutions. By the way, nobody's really paying attention to the NCAA tournament. If you did the same thing with basketball, you would make basketball popular too. But y'all don't want to do that. Y'all just want to fall in line and y'all want to reinvent the wheel. The wheel, all the tread is off the wheel at this point. So what you do is buy a new wheel. The new wheel is go highlight the smaller schools. The smaller schools have keen talent. If you have keen talent, you are bring sports fans to the TV. Sports fans to the TV translates to money getting made by you by sponsorship dollars. That's it. That's what y'all here for. Point blank, period, end of sentence. If you don't do that, you're going to continue to lose. Now, since we on basketball, let's talk about the MVP of the NBA. Seeing how my man Joel Embiid is no longer eligible because he's missed too many games and he may be out for the season. Let's talk about the people who should be league MVP in the National Basketball Association. National Basketball Association is a shell of itself, if you ask me. It is no longer fun. It is no longer interesting. It is no longer competitive. Look, you continue to push LeBron James down our throat. I am a gigantic LeBron James fan, but you continue to push a 39-year-old dude down our throat. We're no longer interested at that level of LeBron James. I'll talk about LeBron James in a second. Why is it that the NFL, and we're living in a copycat sports world, why does the National Basketball Association not put the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Boston Celtics on TV as frequently as possible? The Boston Celtics are on a roll of winning 15, 20 games in a row. They are kicking behind and taking names. But we don't see Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics, who should be on my list. He's number 3 in the MVP race. Jason Tatum is doing his best impression of Larry Bird. Jason Tatum is taking people out with the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are on a roll. Everybody counted them out. They said their coach was not equipped to handle the Boston Celtics situation, but they never paid attention to the fact that that coach was in his first year of coaching. And I think he did an awful good job to get to the conference finals last season. Jason Tatum is the number 3 guy on my league MVP list. Number 2 has to be Joker. This dude is playing good old-fashioned basketball. He's doing everything that you want him to do. He's rebounding when necessary. He's blocking shots when necessary. He's going into the paint and forcing your people to double and triple him and passing it out to people who are hitting wide open shots. You got Murray doing this thing. He opens up the court and makes it easy for everyone. Oh, and that's why Joker is the man. The number 1 guy on my list is Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves. You rarely see the Timberwolves on TNT, ESPN, ABC. You don't see it. Why is that? This is one of the most electric players in the National Basketball Association today. This dude has the intensity and the fire of a Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. He has the athletic ability of a Michael Jordan. He's exciting. He has a great smile. He's a great personality. He's aggressive. He's everything that you say you want to be. But instead of promoting and making the money be spread out and the attention be spread out, and which draws people to your game, you want to put him in Los Angeles. You want to put him in New York. This is stupid. Make the New York motto shift throughout the world. I am old enough to remember when if you walked into the Chicago basketball stadium backward, they would probably let you in because there wasn't anyone going there. This guy 40 years ago this year, this dude by the name of Michael Jordan showed up, and then people started going to what at the time it was called Chicago Stadium. Now They tore that down and rebuilt the United Center, and now it's Chicago is a hot spot in basketball. The Bulls used to stink. They used to be like morning breath. Nobody want. Hey, if you sat close enough to the bench, they might put you in. Until Jordan got there, Anthony Edwards is in Minnesota. Put the spotlight on Minnesota. Keep the spotlight in Chicago. Keep it on Dallas, New York, LA, Miami. But also, look, see, we have this mentality in sports of passing the torch. When you pass the torch, you leave darkness on the other side. You don't pass the torch, you light the next torch. And I keep my torch lit, and that's another torch lit. The National Basketball Association needs to understand that. Make Anthony Edwards the front runner for your MVP. Guess what? Now all of a sudden, there's people who don't really like the Lakers and don't care if the Lakers play, and now they're paying attention to Anthony Edwards. You people, NBA executives, when will you learn? 20-some years ago, 25 years ago, 28 years ago, Michael Jordan retired from basketball, and everybody stopped paying attention. Why don't you start doing what the NFL does? It is not Troy Aikman. It is not Emmitt Smith. It is not Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin. It's the Dallas Cowboys. It was not Staubach, my man Drew Pearson, my man Tony Dorsett. It was the Dallas Cowboys. It was not Terry Bradshaw and Joe Green and Donnie Shell. It was the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was not Jerome Bettis. And y'all get my point. It is always about the team. It is about the team. And now, seeing how this guy's a 22-year-old man, he's taking over the league, put that spotlight on Minnesota. You got the Clippers doing that thing. Put that spotlight out of Inglewood and put it in Watts, where the new stadium is going to be, or vice versa. Los Angeles, I know it's in one of those suburbs they put the new stadium in. Make the Clippers the show. The Clippers, not the players. NBA, figure it out. Otherwise, when LeBron and Steph Curry retire in 1 or 2 years, we're not going to be paying attention again. Let's not continue to be stupid. Let's not continue to be stupid. Now, speaking of stupid, Paul George, this dude is king of the haters. Paul George, I just need you to sit somewhere and get real quiet, and all I need you to do
You better shut your white mouth. I'm not kidding you.
Because Paul George is king of the haters. Paul Pierce, excuse me. I apologize to Paul George. Playoff P, you the man. But Paul Pierce, you are a hater, sir. When you were on ESPN, you tried to convince the world that you were better than Dwayne Wade. You've been in competition with LeBron James. The only problem with that is when Dwayne Wade had his own shot, he was making conference finals his first year in the league, conference finals his second year in the league, his third year in the league, he won a championship. LeBron James was winning league MVPs when he was by himself. He was having the best record in the league when he was by himself. And then when he teamed up with another star, he won a championship. Paul Pierce, you walked in the door with Antoine Walker, NBA All-Star. You didn't even get to the conference championship. When they made you the man solely, y'all started winning 25, 30 games. And then when they brought Kevin Garnett and other Hall of Famers in, you won the championship. Yeah. You're not that good, bro. And the reason I'm bringing it up and calling you a hater, why is it that instead of celebrating this guy by the name of LeBron James, why do we only talk about what he's not? Of course he's not Kobe Bryant, because that's why his mother named him LeBron. Of course he's not Michael Jordan. That's why his mother named him LeBron. He's his own entity. Let's stop talking about what this guy can't do, and let's start talking about what he has done. He has scored more points than anybody in the history of the league. He has more assists than Magic Johnson. He has played in more championship games than just about anybody in history, outside of the 60 Celtics and stuff like that. He is championship caliber. He is a freight train. This dude has played impeccable basketball. Look, if he's not your cup of tea, that's cool, because I was born and raised in Chicago. And guess what? I wasn't a fan of Michael Jordan. Rooted against him every chance I get, but I enjoyed every shot. I didn't like Kobe Bryant. Personal reasons, because I used to play with guys like both of those, and they wouldn't pass it to me. So when I saw dudes on TV playing like them, I was like, I don't like them. Petty, but it is what it is. But I did not enjoy watching them play. Let's start celebrating and stop hating. And people like Paul Pierce, look, You don't have to like these guys. I'm not in the LeBron James recruiting catalog. That's not what I'm doing. Celebrate, stop hating. Let's do this. I started this on Twitter actually. How about this? Let's, instead of putting up one's gotta go, let's start saying who is the most underrated and put up 4 people. And then we're gonna celebrate these players. Look, you're talking about he's in the new Balco, he's a chump. You know what? Boo him. Hate, that's part of sports. I don't like him because I didn't like Jordan and Kobe, but I respected them. We don't have to disrespect these guys to celebrate other guys. That's all I'm saying. Let's stop doing that. And then if we stop doing that, we can enjoy everything about all of them. Now, one of the things I want to talk about to wrap up the show is this. This dude by the name of Russell Wilson has been disrespected to no end. A lot of people, because I got a bias with left-hand people and I got a bias with brown people, you're going to think I am taking up for Russell Wilson because he's brown. And I'm not going to lie, I am. But that's not the only reason. That's like 28% of it. But the real reason I'm taking up for Russell Wilson is because the National Football League has this facade going on that it is a privilege to play professional basketball. A privilege is something that is given to you. To be a professional athlete on any level, that's something that you earn. There is no privilege in putting my life on the line 17 times a year, and then a couple times in the playoffs. There is no privilege in that. I earned that. Russell Wilson is one of the most skilled quarterbacks we've seen in the last 25 years. This dude went from North Carolina State to Wisconsin to being drafted in the 4th round, taking a dude's job who they had just paid a boatload of money and taking the team to 3 conference championship, 2 back-to-back Super Bowls, and put up stellar numbers. Am I saying Russell's the greatest of all time? Nope. But Russell Wilson is being lambasted by mainstream media. Kimberly Martin, shut up, Kimberly. Shut up, Kimberly. Shut up, Kimberly, because she clearly has an agenda. Kimberly Martin sits up on ESPN. I listen to her and my man Ryan Clark and Dominique Foxworthy and Greeny and the rest of the people on Get Up just about every morning. I listen to these people talk in the last couple of mornings, and I made them, and somehow my link got switched over to Shannon and Stephen A. Smith. And they were saying the same thing, Kimberly Martin. Russell isn't good anymore. Russell isn't this anymore. He's 35 years old. Of course he can't do what he was doing when he was in his 20s. No, most people can't. Scientifically, you are at your strongest physically between 28 and 32. Russell's 35. So, of course, he can't do what he was doing when he was 28. But what I want people to understand is this. Russell Wilson did nothing to shame himself this year. Russell Wilson, y'all call Baker Mayfield a comeback story, and his numbers were equal, and some of them were better than Baker Mayfield. And this dude is in his physical prime. He has stained out of Los Angeles. He's stained out of Cleveland. He's stained out of another team. What was that? I think it was Jacksonville and Carolina. He has stained out of several teams. Looks like he's found a home in Tampa. Hey, good luck to you, Faker. Do your thing. Do your thing. But back to Russell Wilson, according to Shannon Sharp, according to Stephen A. Smith, according to Robert Griffin III, and according to aforementioned Kimberly Martin, Russell was put on a team with poor defense, poor offense, poor special teams, and poor coaching. Explain to me how this man was supposed to make brick without straw. He's not Moses. He's a football player. How is it that he was supposed to do something where he was supposed to make something out of nothing at any age, at 22, 23, 24? Nobody does it. You cannot put me on a team that is bare, the cupboard is bare, and expect me to do things. And you told me the coach shouldn't have been a coach. And then when you get a coach who's relatively good, Sean Payton, he's choked on several occasions, but we're not going to talk about that. Relatively good, and the coach walks through the door with a preconceived notion of who he was. You expect him to excel in that, and he did. In spite of a coach doubting me, in spite of a lack of talent, in spite of a lack of talent on offense, defense, and special teams. And you expected him to do well. He cannot do the impossible. He cannot do the impossible. Now, with that being said, we're going to stop with the foolishness about this. Look, Russell Wilson would do a darn good job. Guess what? With the way Russell Wilson played last season, he was a top 16 quarterback. He was a top 16 quarterback across the board, which means there are 16 quarterbacks that were far worse than him. Now, if you put that same guy on the New York Jets with that dominant defense, the Jets are a playoff contender. They missed the playoffs. They were a playoff contender up until like week 11 or 12, which means it was 6 or 7 weeks left. Imagine if you had an adequate quarterback instead of a quarterback throwing worm burners and hitting wide open defenders. If you had the guy who played just like Russell Wilson, the Jets would have been a playoff contender. If you put Russell on the Cleveland Browns last year, they may have beaten C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans. Get that. So is Russ still a world beater? No, he's not. Can Russ do what Tom Brady did in Tampa? Yes, he could. If you put Antonio Brown and Mike Evans, and I forget the third receiver, and Gronk, and rebuild the offensive line on a top 5 defense, Russ can win in that situation, just like Tom Brady did. Tom Brady was on a Super Bowl team, but they didn't win because they did it because Tom Brady was good enough not to hit wide open linebackers and blow the game, but he didn't have to win the game because the defense was shutting you down, and I have a boatload of talent behind me. Could Russ won in Los Angeles with the Rams a couple of years ago the way Matthew Stafford did? He just didn't blow the game. Matthew Stafford didn't do a whole lot. He didn't propel the Rams to a championship. There was Aaron Donald. There was my man Von Miller, and there was Jalen Ramsey, and the rest of that defense with Raheem Morris and that coach who put together a great offensive game plan. My point is this. If you put them in a good situation, you're going to get good results. Pittsburgh Steelers, maybe you need to be calling Russ. Maybe, just maybe, you need to call Russ because your quarterback is throwing worm burners. Your quarterback he's missing wide open receivers. He's overthrowing the basic throws. Russ can find his way on a myriad of teams, but you cannot continue to talk him down. This is a joke. The next thing I want to talk about before I shut it down is the National Football League Combine. You got people like my man Williams, Caleb Williams. He should be the number 1 player pick, and I personally believe he's trying to talk. He's a friend. He's a family member of a friend of the show. She goes by the name of Black Swan. That's her nephew. She's been talking about him for years. She turned me on to him when he was at Oklahoma, and she was 100% correct. Caleb Williams I don't believe he wants to come to Chicago, but just like what Eli Manning's father, Archie Manning, and John Elway did it literally 40 years ago, and this the 41st year that John Elway did it. He talked his way out of at the time they were Baltimore Colts, but the Indianapolis Colts. He talked his way out of that because it was a horrible situation. Eli Manning didn't want to go to San Diego because he said his father said it was a horrible situation. He ended up with the Giants and winning 2 Super Bowls. And now Caleb Williams' dad is doing the same thing, and now it's a crime we should be scared off. Chicago Bears, to be perfectly honest, I wouldn't want to play for the Bears either because they have a history of not coming through in the clutch when it comes to talent. The last time the Bears consistently put talent on the field was in the early 80s. This is when you drafted Mike Singletary. This is when you drafted Richard Dent. This is when you drafted Wilbur Marshall. This is when you drafted Todd Bell and a Emory Moorhead and a Willie Gauld and a Dennis McKinnon. You already had one Walter Payton, and you put a Jim McMahon in who just point guarded the team. He wasn't the driving force, but he just made sure he didn't blow the game. That's the last time the Bears put solid talent on the team. If you disagree with me, all you have to do is go to footballreference.com, look up the NFL draft, and I want you to, since 1986, when Charlie Neal Anderson was drafted, the Bears have not drafted a first-round skilled player, meaning wide receiver or running back, that turned out. Not one. 1986, 38 years ago. So I wouldn't want to come here either. The Bears have not drafted a big-time wide receiver that panned out. It has not happened in the first, second, third, or fourth round. They haven't done it. They haven't had a running back with longevity since Charlie Neal Anderson, the dude who was brought here to replace Walter Payton. Now, you do have Matt Forte, who did very good, but they got rid of him. So if I was Caleb Williams, I would want to come to Chicago either. And another thing is this: if you don't want him here, if you don't want to be here, this is the reason he doesn't want to be. Excuse me. The reason he doesn't want to be here is this. Look at the last 3 picks that the Bears had at the very top of the draft. One, Mitchell Trubisky. You brought in here. Matt Nagy stayed here a year. You got rid of Matt Nagy, and then you brought in, I think it was John Fox. You bring in Fox, and then bam, John Fox get up out of here, and then next thing you know, Mitchell Trubisky, who was the wrong player to pick that year, but it's still, you got quarterback, offensive coordinator, new coach, and then you out of here. Justin Fields, he got the end of this one dude's career. They fire him. You bring in this new coach. The new coach doesn't gel well with this guy, with Justin Fields, and now you're trying to get rid of Mr. Trubisky. This coach is on his last leg, and you're gonna draft me into a situation where I got to learn a whole new system, and then they're gonna get rid of him in probably 16 games as well. So why would I want to go to that? Look. If you have anything outside of getting paid, I don't know if I would want to be a quarterback getting drafted to the Bears, especially this year. Now, I'm a personal believer that Drake May is going to end up in Chicago because this is my city, and I seen the way they do things, and that's just the bottom line. But these are the things that are going on in the draft. Speaking of the draft, the combine was last weekend. You have people like Caleb Williams, you have like Jaden Daniels, and other people who refuse to get their physicals, and they refuse to do the running around and things of that nature. Why? Because I don't really have to run around because I'm a millionaire already. This is called leverage. You know what leverage looks like in the academic world? I have a medical degree from Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Cal Berkeley. So it's people looking for me. I have a law degree from those institutions. So it's people looking for me. I have a technology degree from MIT. I'm an engineer from MIT. I'm at the top of my class. So people are looking for me. So no, I'm not going to the lower level places because I want to make as much money as I can and be maximized for my abilities. That's what these young boys are doing now. That's why y'all wanted to prevent the NIL, because when these young boys have options, and they let you know, y'all gonna run y'all company right. I don't want to be there. And that's why y'all hate that these young men have the ability to earn their own money. Is it wrong that Caleb Williams said, hey, if you pick in 8th, 9th, and 10th, I'm not giving y'all my medical records? No, it's not. But guess what? The NFL has been pimping these young men for God knows how long with the scouting combine. And now they're making money off the scouting combine. 18,000 people came to watch the scouting combine, to watch the underwear Olympics. You want to see people get weighed in their underwear. You want to see these young men run around in shorts and T-shirts. You want, listen to this. You're going to time me in the 40-yard dash, and that's going to determine where you're going to draft me at, right? Why would that determine where you're going to draft me at? That's stupid. How many times do people run in straight lines for 40 yards in the National Football League? If any, not many. Another thing, why would I leave school in January after the bowl season, go to Florida or go to Arizona and work with a track coach so I could maximize my 40 time, knock a half a second off my 40 time when y'all could just clock me on video? Shout out to the young man who said, I'm not doing no pro day, Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm not doing nothing but the physical, so you know I'm a physical specimen. I have no health issues. I'm moving forward. Shout out to those dudes. And you know what that does? Since y'all pimping us in the league, y'all pimping us with the combine, and y'all going to pimp us in other ways later, this opens the door for, again, CBS. This is how it works. Those smaller schools should be getting more guys invited to the combine because guess what? They were on CBS. We got film on them now. You got film. You got tape on them now. You got tape on them. You can invite them to the combine and pimp those guys because if I'm 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 10th, or 15th, I'm not doing anything at the scouting combine. I'm not doing anything at the pro day because you've seen me in action. And guess what? Contrary to popular belief, even if you're going to be picked in the 2nd and 3rd round, you really shouldn't care because that means you're going to be paid a couple $100,000 a year. And then guess what? You got opt out of your deal early. And if you opt out of your deal early, you get to the big money faster. So yeah, it's prestigious to be drafted on the first day and get your name called and all of that. That's all that fanfare. But guess what? If I'm making $350,000 a year and I'm in the National Football League, I'm staying in my mama's house until I get the big money. I'm gonna take out a Lloyd's of London insurance policy on my knees, legs, and backs and things like that. I'm gonna take out about a $10-15 million contract. I'm gonna spend a lot of that money that I would have been spending on kicking it on that insurance policy. So if I get injured before I get this second contract, this big money, I'm gonna be straight. But then I'm just gonna play my butt off. I'm gonna learn the playbook. I'm gonna stay after practice. I'm gonna be in perfect shape. I'm gonna be paying that insurance premium, and then I'm gonna wait till I get that second contract. And when I get that second contract, then I can live a little. Young man, this is why you must do what you have to do to survive in the National Football League. Again, as I say at the end of this show, the National Football League is not a privilege. You lift all those weights, you bust your behind, and you kill yourself to get there. You do all that just to put your life in jeopardy, to play a football game that you love and most people love to watch. This is a business. And because it's a business, handle it like a business. Your body is your office. Your body is your laptop. Your body is your electricity. Make sure you pay your electric bill. Make sure you keep your laptop clean. Make sure you make your office as tidy as possible. So when people come to scout and see if they want to use you as an employee, you present to them the best employee possible. With that being said, it's almost time for me to check out. It ain't almost time. It is time. This is your man, H-Rob B. This is Hold My Bed. See y'all tomorrow where I have Lieutenant Dan Allen from Chicago Police Department, man of the city, child of the city. He's a good man, good brother does. He's a man of God. Being tomorrow, rapping with H-Rap, 2 fingers, 1 word. I'm out.
Jesus. I mean, trust me, man.